So let's talk about the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade, what they want to do next. So, yeah, as expected, they overturned Roe v. Wade. Um, this is why, well, I'll go into that in a minute. What does this mean? It means that for um, millions of people are going to be forced to uh, give birth to unwanted children, and by extension, those children are going to have difficult lives because either they're going to be put up for adoption, uh, or their parents are going to be saddled with them, and there's going to be a degree of animosity. That's not to say that every person is going to abuse their child, but you know, that's always going to be in the background. Um, the parents are going to be saddled with all of the debt because if they wanted an abortion, then they wanted it for a reason, generally financial reasons, or in instances of um, sexual assault, that kind of thing. And I would say the actual term, but YouTube tends to flag and demonetize and age restrict videos when you say certain words. Um, Even if you're not advocating for that, you're just talking about it. But anyway, um, so these people are going to be either saddled with children, or those children are going to be put into foster care and therefore be a greater burden on the system. That's from the conservative perspective. You know how everything just comes down to money to them. They don't give a shit about people. I mean, for me, I think, well, a child going into the foster system, they're going to have a hard time, and they're going to be emotionally and mentally scarred and that kind of thing. That's what I think of. But the fucking asshole conservative just thinks, well, they're going to be a drain on the system until they can pay taxes. Yeah. And and you're going to have um, a lot of people getting abortions illegally and therefore less safely, and they're going to basically, the people who ruled, who did this, the people who took away Roe v. Wade, overturned it, they're the ones who are least likely to suffer the consequences of that decision naturally. Um, this is being done by a bunch of rich people who are out of touch. These rich assholes can just go to another fucking state, um, or to another fucking country. Most people, like I said, they have abortions because they can't afford to have a child. So they're generally impoverished, and yeah. So basically, this is making people less safe. It's creating a greater burden on the um, system, um, and most importantly, it's causing people pain. It's hurting people. But see, the fucking right doesn't give a shit about that. The right wing just cares about control. They're fascists. Look up right wing in the dictionary. So they did this. They made this big step, in part because Obama and the other Democrats were weak, and they didn't push back against the Republicans stonewalling and not allowing them to get their picks. You know, um, their Supreme Court nominee. Well, so now Roe v. Wade is gone, and now they just came out and said they want to overturn same-sex marriage, uh, They want to overturn the decisions regarding um, what people do in their own private bedrooms. Basically, um, same-sex, gay, intimate relationships. They want to make it possible for states um, to arrest people for having sex again. And they want to do away with uh, free and open access to contraceptives. Same-sex marriage, gone. Gay people being legally allowed to be intimate, gone. Contraceptives, gone. Not everywhere, of course, but once they get the ball rolling, um, in a lot of places, even if we want people to have access to this, uh, the assholes with the money tend to make the rules, and so yeah. And pretty soon, people like me are going to be considered enemies of the state, and we're going to be forced into some kind of conformity. And gee, where did we see that last? Most most clearly. Oh yeah, Germany. Yeah, about 80 years ago. It's funny how the party of small government um, only wants small government when it comes to what they want, yet when it comes to what everybody else wants, suddenly big government is a-okay. You know, they're creating task forces and they're creating, um, basically they're incentivizing individuals to report their neighbors. Gee, where did we see that too? McCarthyism in Russia, in of course Nazi Germany, yeah. Republican Party. The Republican Party is the party of big government. So this is only the beginning. As I said before, they want to do away with gay marriage and all that stuff. So what else is going to become criminalized? How many more of our rights are going to be taken away? This is only the beginning. They have lots and lots of plans. The right has lots and lots of think tanks funded by the richest people in the world. This is about control. Obviously, it's not about fucking kids, because if it was, they wouldn't be taking away money for school lunches, and they'd be funding education, and on and on and on and on and on. They'd be funding daycare and all this other shit. Shit that in other countries is the minimum standard. In all the other so-called developed countries, this is the minimum fucking standard. Having like a month off of work every year. You know, in America, if you're not working 3 jobs, and if you don't work 24 hours a day, guess what? Or if your fucking mommy and daddy aren't rich, guess what? You're in the fucking poorhouse. And try having kids when, you know, you're not even making minimum fucking wage. You're working in fucking food service or whatever. There was no such thing as the American dream. That was all a bunch of bullshit. It was from a very specific decade or 20 years in time. Everything else, I mean, if you go back and look at everything before World War II, you have kids working in fucking factories in America. Child labor laws, and now the right is saying they want to do away with those too, so we can go and enslave kids again. Yeah, the United States is only going to get worse. And the worse it gets for us, the worse it's going to get for everybody else, because we literally have the military embedded in every fucking country on Earth. Well, Not every country. We don't have any in North Korea. But, yeah. So, it's, I hate to be a defeatist, but it's the reality. And it's just reality. You have to open your eyes. Not every message can be a positive one. Sometimes there is such a thing as bad news, and you have to deal with it. That's what being an adult is. So many times I hear these comments of people, you know, um, they get pissed off at people like me who just say things are getting bad and they're getting worse, and they're like, well, gee, that bums me out. Well, gee, it's fucking supposed to. It's supposed to get you fucking motivated. It's supposed to make you give a shit. You know? If I said, well, in the end, everything's going to be okay, you're not going to be, nobody's going to act, nobody's going to do jack shit. And now we get to the Democrats. Yes, the Republicans are doing this. Have the Democrats been pushing for this? No. Have they been aiding and abetting? Yes. Through their inaction, through their apathy. They don't give a fucking shit. The Democratic Party is made up largely of rich people, just like the fucking Republican Party. They're all funded by the same group of assholes. And the Democrats are paid to lose. The only reason they get votes is because the Republican Party is so fucking awful. And we, the people, have to hold our fucking noses and vote for some dickhead like Biden who just sits back and lets them fucking do whatever the fuck they want. Biden says, well, he makes all these fucking campaign promises and all this stuff he wants to supposedly do, and he goes to try to do it, and the Republicans slap him in the face and say, no, bitch. And he's like, well, I tried. I guess the Republicans control everything. Oh, well. Two fucking people in the Democratic Party are preventing Joe Biden from doing anything, supposedly. If Biden really wanted to enact this shit, if Biden really gave a fucking shit about protecting the American people, guess what? Things would be a hell of a lot fucking different. He'd actually be doing something, for starters. Biden has so many fucking options at his disposal. Expanding the court is just one of them. One of many. And he's not fucking doing it. Why? Because he doesn't fucking care. The Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck fucking Schumer, these assholes do not give a fucking shit about you. It doesn't fucking matter what little letter is next to their fucking name when you see them on TV. They do not give a fucking shit, and they never will. The only time they give a shit, the only time that something fucking really gets done, is when it affects them. Just look at the January 6th hearings. Boy, they were real fucking quick to fucking get those indictments on those people, weren't they? Not any of the main people, not the people who really instigated it, because that's the power. Well, we can't hurt the powerful people. Can't hold them accountable. Then we have to hold ourselves accountable, and we can't do that. So we can look at the Republicans and say, yeah, these are evil fascists, and they're trying to take over the world. They're trying to turn us back, bring us back to the fucking 1700s. And they're even quoting assholes from back then. But they couldn't do any of it without the help of the Democratic Party, through the Democratic Party's inaction. Now, think about it. You have these guys doing all this evil shit that's really unpopular. The Democrats could be seizing that and going, hey, we're going to fight this, and we're going to, they could be fighting back. Well, why aren't they? Because they don't need to. All they have to do is say that they don't like it. Because there are only two fucking options in the United States. Democrat, Republican. Republicans run roughshod over the Democrats, do whatever they want, and the Democrats say, well, we can't do anything. We can't do anything, but we think it's wrong. Vote for us, because we're not doing this to you, they are. That is bullshit. Bull fucking shit. The Democrats are just as fucking culpable as those fucking Nazis. And we've seen this pattern throughout fucking history. Another reason for the Democrats' lack of action: money. Every time the Republicans do something evil, the Democrats come out and say, hey, we're not doing this to you, they are. If you give us your money, we'll fight them for you. Well, now we're not falling for it anymore, dickheads. Sure, you're going to have those fucking idiots out there who just vote blue no matter who, you know, and they just think, well, a good Democrat will come along and take care of things. Yeah, that's not how it fucking works. If it was, the Republicans wouldn't be able to do jack shit. The Democrats are literally in power, and they're doing nothing. Back when Obama was first elected, he had a fucking supermajority, and he didn't do fucking shit. The fact is, Democrats make money off of fear. The fear generated by the Republicans. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's why nothing ever changes. Now I could come out and tell you a fairy tale and say, hey, if you just vote harder, everything's going to be okay, but it doesn't work that way. We, the voters, are doing our part. The Democrats got the win. We gave that to them so that they could fight these right-wing assholes. Why aren't they fighting them? What incentive does anybody have to continue to vote for these assholes? Well, the only incentive is that, I mean, all of this shit is happening under Biden's watch. Democrats are fucking pretending that the Republicans are still in power. They're certainly acting like it. Now, if we don't vote for Democrats, then what happens? Well, then the Republicans get the supermajority, and they do everything they want anyway. So we're kind of fucked either way, aren't we? I'm telling you, go out there and vote. But understand that that's not enough anymore. This government was supposed to be by and for we the people. It is clearly not. Our rights are being taken away. They're being eroded every single fucking day. People have made it clear what they want and what they don't want. We are running out of options. And if you look throughout history, you will see a pattern. What happens when a government becomes more and more controlling, exerts more and more force over the people? And there's a reason that the fucking police are being over-militarized right now. And it's not just, you know, because of a mass shooting 25 years ago. You'll notice that when right-wingers demonstrate, there's no police presence. Yet when left-wingers demonstrate, there's a massive police presence. Because right-wingers protest against people, and left-wingers demonstrate against government. That's why. In the end, in the long run, evil doesn't win. because it just can't. It's not sustainable. These guys don't realize they're cutting off their noses despite their faces. But a lot of people are going to get hurt in the process. A lot of people are going to die. That's the problem. I wish I could say that, I wish I had some happy-go-lucky message, kids. But if you're watching this, you're probably not a kid. And if you are, well, you're going to learn this lesson eventually. Sometimes there aren't happy endings. Sometimes people get hurt through the course of fighting for their rights. Go back and look at Stonewall. Go back and look at black people's fight for civil rights and how bloody and how costly those fights were and what they entailed. It wasn't people sitting around holding hands saying, singing Kumbaya. That shit doesn't work. Not in reality. Anyway, that's it.